This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and this is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is July 13th, lucky 13, 2020, and this is show number 74. Well, Nick, we're seeing a nice bump on all the indices, particularly the Nasdaq, trading at record highs.
Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq seems like the one index that just don't quit, and it's going higher today, even despite the cloud software names, which are weaker. So real good action in Nasdaq. You have Amazon up $100 today. You have Apple up, believe it or not, up $13.80. That's almost a 4% gain there. So really tremendous move for all of the tech names, big cap Nasdaq 100 names right now. Yeah, and that's
they're the leaders. They're still leading the rally. What's Tesla doing today? How's Tesla looking?
Tesla's up $216 to $1,760 a share. It's just been off the charts. It almost is in a parabolic spaceship type mode, going to the moon.
Yeah, well, these are one decision stocks. Do you remember the Nifty 50? Did you ever hear that? I mean, that's kind of before your time. But in the 70s, right, one decision stocks, Xerox, IBM, etc. You made that decision and you were set for life, and that's what's kind of trying to make you think Tesla's all about. It just does nothing but go up, and do you chalk that to manipulation, or I just think it's euphoria
at the moment. So what happens sometimes when these stocks start to catch fire, you have a lot of big short players in this. You have guys like Dick Chanos. You have guys like other big hedge fund managers that are short the stock. When it gets to a certain level, they have to probably cover their shares, or they're going to, double down or triple down, whatever they're going to do. But this looks like a short squeeze of epic proportions.
Now, can a short squeeze start in the options and spread to the stock?
Well, a lot of times when a short squeeze does occur, it could be already seen in the option. So, there's an old saying on Wall Street, somebody always knows something. Unfortunately, I don't know. I just look at the charts and I try to figure it out that way. But it's possible that somebody positions themselves before a short squeeze does occur.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've seen them get triggered in my own experience, and like micro caps where there's a huge short position, and then this company had a 10-for-1 reverse split, and at the same day, they released a press release that showed that their company was like 90% undervalued. The stock went, well, originally it was at like 38 cents. After the 10-for-1 reverse split, it was at $3.80, and it went up to $12 in a day. Can you imagine how much money the shorts lost? And there's no liquidity in the stock. There are no shares available.
Yeah, and that's sometimes what happens very often when you have those little micro cap names or those low price stocks that are under $1. That's why I always tell everybody, trade real companies, trade real stocks. You're going to be better served. This is not the easiest market to short in. As you know, we've been bullish. I've been bullish forever now, it seems like, since March. But, you want to be on the right side of the tape. You don't want to fight the market.
Yeah, you always need to be on the right side of the tape.
It's so important. People don't realize that, but just think about it. If you go against the trend, and you're talking about big money guys that are in stocks like Tesla on the short side, just think about the pain that they're feeling when they wake up to a 215-point gain today.
And let's not forget, like Tesla wants to get on the S&P 500. And the only way they can do it is with 4 consecutive quarters of profit. Otherwise, they won't get on there. But if they get on there, then all these funds instantly buy up their shares. So this could be a front run on them expecting high profits this quarter, or a profit, it doesn't matter how high, that will effectively elevate the status of the stock to the S&P 500 or 100.
Yeah. That's a great point. And again, when you get into one of these major indexes and you become part of them, people there are mutual fund managers, there are institutions that have to own your stock. So it's a great point.
Yeah, and bet against them at your peril. Can you imagine being a short seller in this stock? Even if you're buying options, the options are trading at such a humongous premium, Nick, that it almost is like cheaper to own the stock.
Yeah, the premiums are just outrageous right now. And again, this is a pattern I just wouldn't touch because the stock is so strong. You have such a big short squeeze going on. I just leave it alone. I think this stock's vulnerable though during this week with options expiration for a pretty big pullback at some point.
Hey, and you could get a $500 pullback in the stock in 1 day, 2 days. That's not
Easy.
hard to envision. It's up $213 right now as we're speaking. It's up 13, almost 14%, Nick.
Yeah, it can pull back, and that's what I'm saying to everyone. Last week we talked a little bit about options X, and I said you got to be careful. The games will be played. They'll lure the small investor in, and then they'll take them and they'll just rip their head off and drop the stock like a rock. It can happen. I've seen it happen, and I would not be surprised if it happens this time around as well.
Yeah, well, if you're going to take a stock down, the best way to do it is shoot it up to an unsustainable level where it gets technically weak, and then pile in with the put options and short selling, rush in there, and then you can move that stock for sure. And you're talking billions of dollars to do it, but the people that do this have got billions of dollars to use at their disposal, right?
Absolutely, and I tell everyone markets can move anytime, but during the week of options X, that means today all the way going into Friday, which is the 17th, which is the actual expiration for the month of July. These guys can move stocks. Institutions can move stocks, and they can place them where they need them to be. So you want to be really, really on your toes this week.
Yeah, but especially now, yeah, for sure. So, hey, we had a winning trade. Pfizer sold out of there and had a nice return. I had a 35% return on it.
Yep, I got a 25% return on it, so it was pretty nice to see. And again, a lot of people were very, very worried about Pfizer. My email box was ringing off the charts. The stock's not moving. It's going down every day. I said, listen, you got to just let the market play itself out. The level's the level. The pattern is the pattern, and it'll usually take you to the promised land. Not every option is going to win. They come with high degree of risk. But as you've seen, Kerry, they usually will work out pretty nicely as long as we have a good chart.
Yeah. And, hey, how long did we wait around in this trade? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, it might have been a little bit more than that. But, again, it wasn't a very long trade. So all in all, just about 3 weeks, I think it was, or about a month. It wasn't all that long.
All right. So what about energy here? We've seen energy prices, after going negative, reverse exponential. Really, they've been heading up at like close to $40 oil right now, right?
Yeah, we're at 40 and a quarter right now, and really it's been going sideways for the last 2-3 weeks. So the pattern that it's putting in is a bullish pattern for crude. So nothing wrong there. If these airlines start to get going, you'll see crude oil really shoot up a lot higher. Right now, my next crude level is going to be around 45 to 46. We're at $40.26 at the moment. So again, after that, it goes into the mid 50s.
Wow. And of course, nobody is predicting this, right?
No, nobody. Everybody's looking at, COVID cases climbing. Oil can never go higher. COVID cases are climbing. Oil's going to crash again. No, nobody predicted it.
No one is predicting it. In fact, they're predicting lower because they're predicting that the economy is not going to recover. I don't know about that, but fact is that it's definitely a beaten down sector right now.
Yeah, you just watch the pattern. If the pattern failed, I would change my tune in a minute. But right now, this is a strong pattern for oil. So maybe we'll get some whipsaw this week with options X because there are a lot of oil vehicles and oil stocks that are in play this week. But the bottom line is that the crude chart looks strong right now.
Yeah. So, and, you always say you like to see the like in retail, you hop in when you see bankruptcies. Well, in the airlines, we heard that United Airlines is laying off half the company, basically. Could that be
that
bullish
that news was out on Friday, I believe,
right.
and the stock popped about $3. So, today the airline stocks are all pulling back a little bit. But again, that's still a tougher trade just because they haven't gotten off the ground yet. These airline stocks have not really – they've had that big surge in early June, and since then they've been doing a lot of backing and filling. But they're on my radar. You know me, Kerry. I got levels for all of them. So I'm just waiting for those levels.
All right. So the one that really amazes me – that just goes because I follow the economy like a hawk, it's my life. But the one that amazes me is the home builders. If I had to pick a sector that I thought was dead in the water, will never go anywhere, it would be them.
And understandably so, but if you look at the chart, it's painting us a different picture. So, right now the home builders are holding up like a rock. They look very strong on the chart. I have not entered them yet, but I'm getting ready to do so on a little bit more of a consolidation pattern.
Yeah, so they need a little pullback?
Not even a pullback. They just need to base a little bit longer. Just go sideways. And if they do that, they're setting up because if you take a look at any chart, and I'll use a popular name that everybody knows, Lennar.
Yeah.
And that stock, has been put in a big top, looked like a top on the 28th of May, and since then it's gone sideways. So if it builds that base and breaks out of that, right now the stock's trading at 65. This is a stock that can go to $72 to $75. It just needs more time. Just needs a little bit more time.
Interesting. Well, I do know anecdotally the development that I'm in is about 60-70% done, and they never stopped building throughout the pandemic. They were considered vital infrastructure employees, and they social distance. But I noticed like 8 houses went up recently in a bunch of townhouse structures, and I missed it. They're obviously not completed, but they went up, and they're only building them based on sales. They're not speccing them.
Right, which is actually smart to do because if you're building them on sales, you have the capital coming in, that property is going to be sold. And that's a smart way to do it. But I'm seeing a lot of construction going on where I am. I've just redone a kitchen and a pool bath. And I got to say, I had to wait a long time to get the guys to come in here to do that work.
All right. So we go to gold and silver. They are on fire today. Well, gold's up on the spot about $6 and silver's up almost $0.50.
Yeah, silver's on fire. Gold is no slouch either, though. It's still up 0.5% today in the futures. And when you look at silver up 3% today, it's just killing me because I was in a silver trade, took money off the table, never got back in, and this thing's been on fire. But again, we're right up into good resistance area, so we'll see if it does pull back or give us some consolidation to maybe get into this thing. But, honestly, I've been talking about silver as being the one metal you want to be in even more than gold. And it's showing a really good strength right now. Yeah,
agreed. We're seeing it happen. It's pretty amazing because silver has been, it's been in a downward slope with a couple of pops since 2011. Since October of 2011, it's been heading down.
It has been, but the funny thing about silver, when we put that bottom in March, you got to remember that was at around $10.86 was the low. And here we are looking at silver, trading. I'm using the SLV, excuse me. The SLV was at $10.86. And now here it is at $17.90. And if you're looking at silver futures, you could have picked up silver futures down there at $11.64. Now it's at $19.57. It's just been an incredible rocket ship run.
Yeah, it's remarkable. And we haven't seen that kind of strength in silver. We just haven't seen that kind of strength in years.
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time. You probably got to go back to 2016, the last time we've seen this kind of surge.
I think it went to 21 during that time, if memory serves me correct.
Yes, that's correct. It went right up to around 21 change, and then it backed off, and that's where we made that final low in 2018. So, this is a power move when you get this. This lifts the trend on the bigger time frames.
Yeah.
And I think, on every pullback, silver's a buy.
Yeah, and $20 silver, even though it's technically not the big resistance point. Psychologically, it is the big resistance point.
Yeah, psychologically, it's tremendous because everybody's looking back at that 2016 top at 21. You get through there, though, it could be a Tesla type move.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding.
21 break, 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street. Yeah. Let's call it that. Because let me tell you, if that gets through there, this thing takes off. I mean, it has a lot of catch up to do with gold.
Lots of catching up to do with gold. And look, they're, the mining industry, not to get too wrapped up in the technical things because we don't look at that, but the mines all over the world were closed. Every, gold mine and copper mines in so many countries were closed. Most of the silver in the world as byproduct comes from mining copper and base metals. And as a result, the supply is stretched thin. We don't even know how thin it is stretched. And it looks like investor demand is accelerating because as the price goes up on SLV, they have to buy more silver, in theory at least, to support their holdings.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. And I'll tell you another little tidbit. Copper has been very strong too. I sold out of my Southern Copper SCCO position on Friday. I made over 10% on the second half. That's been very strong. So the market is telling you something. And, when you have silver, which has a lot of industrial uses, this is a very, very good move. Watch for a pullback, watch for a pattern. Yeah. But I think silver's a buy going forward on any pullback, for the next couple of years.
All right. So finally, little discussion I think is due about the coronavirus and what's really happening here.
Well, if you take a look at the market's telling you what's happening. The numbers are all distorted. I don't know if you could even believe them. The people that are getting the virus are younger. They're not even getting sick. The death toll has really dropped. I mean, a lot of this was just, I don't want to be political about this. I tried to keep this a non-political program, but a lot of this was political.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, political, and there's some agenda at work, whether they want to get rid of our greenbacks because they could have COVID-19, right? Whatever the case might be, there's definitely something at foot here, some nefarious forces who are nailing this thing, who are really running the narrative here, Nick.
Well, if you look at the guy in charge now, it looks like the president's task force is debating him a bit now on his work. If you look at the study that came out of the UK with that Niall, I forget his last name.
Ferguson, yeah.
Ferguson, that number was just so distorted. I mean, who could
totally bogus.
Who could be off by that much? So, yeah, there was a bigger scheme here that happened. And, now you look at all the companies that have gone out of business, especially the small businesses. It's just absolutely, a crime. And, again, the market right now is telling us they're shrugging off coronavirus. Disney opened up in Florida.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're seeing people, and now you got protests going on. People don't want to wear masks because they're learning the science behind that as well. Masks are no good for you.
Oh, my God.
They're not even effective after about 3 to 4 minutes.
If they're ever effective.
Yeah, if at all.
Somebody said if you could smell your flatulence, then the mask is not working. Kind of gross, but it kind of proves a point here, But let's not get political, but let's just say that the market knows all. The market's not being sucked in by this.
No, not at all. And if you just look at what's going on, we've had a bullish run from March, and as the things started to reopen, it just got more bullish. And we've printed a ton of money. I don't want to exclude that because I know I'll get people on my Twitter feed saying, hey, it's the Fed printing money. It is. You have a ton of liquidity in the system, and that is always the main driving force. But you have to remember, if people start to open up and you get businesses actually working. I went to a restaurant last night with my wife, and we had to wait 30 minutes before we could get seated. That's a pretty good sign that things are definitely starting to recover. And that's even in Florida here, where they keep telling us that the cases are enormous.
Yeah. I don't even listen. The numbers mean nothing. They're mixing, at least in a lot of states, they're mixing antibody tests with actual virus load tests. And the two are totally different, tell a completely different story. Hey, one thing I'd like to point out is China's new law in Hong Kong. They've basically taken over Hong Kong, and democracy be damned, no doubt is leading to a capital flight, not just out of Hong Kong, but out of mainland China as well. And it wouldn't surprise me if some Taiwanese were starting to get a little nervous as well. That money is only coming one place, and that's to the U.S., into the stock market, right?
That's it. And, that's where capital flows are going. And Europe, too. People are, I'm watching the news, not the mainstream news. I don't watch that at all. But I'm looking at reports coming out of Europe. There are protests over there. People are tired of this. They're tired of the whole socialist agenda. And where's that capital going to go? Anybody that has any money there, they're not going to keep it there. They're going to put it in U.S. stocks. Yeah, for sure. And it's so interesting because that old saying that stocks climb on a wall of worry, has never been truer. Yeah, it really is. It really is the truth, and it always has been, and I believe it always will be. And I think we'll leave it at that till tomorrow, Nick, and take a look at inthemoneystocks.com. Hopefully you got your latest trades added to your already impressive record, Nick. I know for myself, I've got 8 winners, two that are in the red, but are still open and have months to run before the verdict is in, and that's pretty darn impressive. So Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago 01, and at Kerry Lutz. Questions, comments, we welcome. We've got a couple saved up we'll get to in the next couple of days. The email address kl@kerrylutz.com. And Nick, we will pick up tomorrow. Sounds good, Kerry. This concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. For more information, go to inthemoneystocks.com and see Nick's full trading record, or check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago 01.